Eric Ritchie, everybody. Licorice takes the stage yet again, and what a career that guy's had. Semis at World, his rookie split, 4 regional finals, winning one in 2020. Yeah, I mean, this guy, he's one of the top laners that has the most history in the entire North.
And the big thing for me is there was a little while before his time on Golden Guardians when he was kind of struggling, right? And everyone was like, oh, okay, like, he's washed, his career's done, etc., etc. Then had this huge resurgence, ended up going with Golden Guardians to that MSI, having an incredible original performance, or individual performance rather there. So yeah, and now on LYON again, I feel like this is definitely not one of his the best splits of his career.
Yeah.
However, always has the ability to kind of turn it on, and I think it was pretty interesting watching that career resurgence he did have when he was on Golden Guardians, because it was through a lot of kind of singular split pushing and recognizing where they could apply map pressure.
Of the splits that he has competed in Tier 1, you can count on one hand how many he didn't make playoffs, and you don't need your thumb, okay? Licorice is consistency when it comes to making that. But back semi still against the wall here. They need to win another game to get into that playoff. Dignitas won game 1, LYON bounce back in game 2. So one for either of them.
Yeah.
Still? Okay, is it an actual Atari or is it like the TV plug-in one?
Because that's my problem with like really old consoles is that they just stop working. Anyway, Licorice going blind Renekton on this blue side. Red side has been the favored side, right, of this series, which is kind of interesting. And we see Srtty locking in that K'Sante.
Yeah, K'Sante definitely has received some nerfs and fallen well out of the meta. You could see only 3.3% pick rate, but we are in game 3 of Fearless, so things are starting to get a little sparse on the top lane, and it's something you can pick in a Renekton without getting destroyed.
Based right there.
Why? We don't even see it anymore.
Yeah,
and
we don't see it in
competitive. You're just asking
really.
for...
She got a bunch of nerfs. We still won't see her. MF locked in.
Jatt, you're an apologist, I assume?
For Dig. The really interesting thing to me in Fearless draft, right, when it gets down into 3-game series for best of 3s, but in particular 5-game series that we'll see later on in this matchup, as we see Lillia locked in for Audi, and then the hover over Lyonz's Nautilus, which would be another engaged support for him, is that how to put together a cohesive team composition when so much stuff is off the table. It's something that I've called out FlyQuest for being really, really good at, is even when they're doing like quote-unquote wacky picks, there's always a lot of thought behind their composition. So let's see how these two teams do.
And I think that might be, if I had to guess, what Dig's takeaway from game 2 would be, because I think in game 2 they drafted good matchups and then they put all the ingredients together and it was just this horrible mush. It just didn't work. So then you're with the K'Sante, they're picking, okay, this can lane into Renekton, but then can at least be a frontline later. And then if they're picking MF Braum already, that's just a bot lane that they're picking, right? Into just, they only see Nautilus, and they say, okay, this is going to be enough in lane and in team fights to have a good structure.
But to highlight the fact that, yes, it is still best of 3 Fearless, if you want to get that premier AD carry, because now you can ban out more. I mean, we already have a couple removed from the pool, 4 in total, and then you pair that with the Kallisto, with the Senna now. I think this is Dignitas showing that they want to play a little more through Tomo and Isles and put Hena on something a little less comfortable on.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty tough early on to lane Kai'Sa into an MF, but with Nautilus, Renekton already, I think Kai'Sa would be one of the best AD carries available in the slot when it comes to Hena's pick, but we're going to see probably a jungler here for Sheiden. They tried to ban the Viego and the Kindred out already. They think he needs to do a lot of damage because K'Sante Braum is going to be low damage already, so he's got to be a pretty high damage jungler here. Man, so many junglers.
Tomo is laughing. I'm very curious to see, interested in what they're talking about.
At least the vibes are good.
Are they really going to blind pick Ryze rather than pick the jungler right now? Yes.
Yeah,
wow.
That's more of a denial from Saint, I feel like, than necessarily wanting to blind pick Ryze.
They really want to put Saint on the back foot, which, I mean, we said it earlier, live by Saint, die by Saint seems to be how LYON play some of their games. Get him something he's not as comfortable on, that could be something that Dignitas win with.
I do also feel like Dig, as we see the Zeri locked in, she has made a bit of a resurgence lately, especially when you get down into these fearless drafts.
Yeah.
However, I think another thing that Dig have prioritized throughout this series is having at least one kind of global ultimate on their side to be able to potentially overload sides or change, kind of change how team fights work.
Oh,
there's the Annie
there
lock-in.
We saw it in Series 1. We've heard rumblings about it coming back into the meta here with especially the most recent itemization changes. Malignance feeling a little bit better as well.
I gotta say though, Annie Lillia is not how you draw it up. That is, the Mercury Treads value on Ryze is insane. And I think it's going to stop Annie from being able to make a lot of plays if Keine itemizes defensive early.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see.
The Nidalee hover, potentially for Sheiden, but no, okay, he's locking
This is why he's laughing.
Olaf.
This is why he's laughing. What is this? It's the Olaf jungle.
Yeah.
Okay.
So again, I mean, talk about Merc Treads. You don't need Merc Treads if you have an ultimate that makes you unstoppable. She's going to try and run down the Lillia. Hard to stick on her. She is quite fast. But I think the bigger thing is you just can't get interacted by the Annie, as shout out the resident J4 main in the audience. Again, at some point, I want to take a sip out of that big horn you got. It's great. I smelled it one time. It smelled like Diet Coke, but maybe if we wash it first.
I was wondering where you were going with this, honestly.
Yeah,
I was like, all right.
So I'm looking
well, he's
at,
always here. You know,
I'm
you
looking
gotta
at
hold
this
the horn
year.
at some point.
I'm looking at this year's spring split in trying to filter by top 4 regions. We've seen 2 Olaf jungles. Both of them did win.
Okay.
Yeah, put
1-1-8
some
and
respect
1-3-12.
on
It's
my
not
boy
hit that
Monkey's
much.
name.
Yeah.
I have followed him since his EDG Young. I keep calling them EDG Youth. I think it's EDG Young days. But
I wouldn't know.
to that point, to an LPL point anyway.
But actually, first, before we get into that, non-subscribers, we will see you in 30 seconds. For everybody else sticking around, Emily has this great point.
It's not really a great point. It was just to point out that we had talked about the Annie at the top of show, right, as something that we might see. Because we also have, despite it just coming to the LTA North this week, seen it in other regions.
Yes.
Especially, again, in those fearless best of threes set
Deeper
up.
we go.
Yep.
A higher priority it gets. Reminder, everybody, winner goes to playoff, loser goes home for split 2. An entire split of work is on the line. Game 3, Dignitas take on LYON.
So interesting to see what happens in this game. We've seen the momentum of the series shift back and forth. We had game 1 where it looked like LYON was going to be winning it, and then Dig clutched out some team fights towards the end. Game 2, Dig had a slight lead, but their team composition kind of fell apart at the end and LYON stomped them. Now we're in game 3, and one of the biggest differences I see in this game than I saw in the other 2 is the top lane matchup is a little bit more neutralizing. We've had Gwen versus Jax, we've had Jace versus Rumble, carry versus carry matchups, but now it's Licorice trying to be a bit of a force and Srtty trying to neutralize it.
And speaking of Licorice, this was Licorice previously last week when he was on the lounge. He was talking about their confidence level going into this match. And I do think, despite the fact that, you know, I had also picked this as a 2-1 in favor of LYON, that was my prediction. I think Dig have shown, especially in game 1, that they were able to take a lot of those winning fights that they were getting in some of their losses and turn it into a win. So we will see what happens here. But yeah, I think most people coming into this matchup expected 2-1, maybe even a 2-0 for LYON, just because of some of those narrow misses they'd had against top teams, specifically C9. And then also just their level of map play compared to what we had seen from Dignitas in their series.
And I love what Tomo and Isles are doing down here. They drafted the Misfortune early, banned away some of the champs they didn't want to play into, and they already have priority down here, pushing Hena and Lyonz back to the turret. But it's answered by LYON having that priority topside. Fairly expected when it's the Renekton, as you had highlighted, Jatt. Srtty's mostly going to be playing kind of goalie here, playing more defense for the team.
I think so. You never know, though, with Cassante. He does have some outplay potential in the laning phase if Srtty can get some good trades. I think early on, the Annie gank assist with the point-and-click stun, if Audie ever finds a small window to move mid, could be pretty effective. But for the most part, I think we're going to see a fairly low-action early game as the Olaf and Lillia just try and make sure they don't fall behind the other and farm.
Both farming on opposite sides of the jungle so far, and nice dredge line lands. But again, Isles on the Braum. The man with the big shield says nay. Very hard to actually make damage stick there onto an 80 carry, so one of the other bonuses is that Isles his champ pool quite deep as well. He plays offensive, he also plays defensive. Did a few Braum games already. Annie is okay, Pog. I don't. Is this a positive statement, or I feel like it is?
She sure does exist.
She's in the game League of Legends. I can confirm that.
In this game of League of Legends.
That's a better point right there. But also, Olaf, fun fact, who I heard from production, the last time we saw this was, I believe they said summer of 2022, where Blabber pulled it out. So, yeah, it's been about 3 years since we have seen an Olaf played in Tier 1 in the North.
Back then, Blabber's Olaf was permaban. He just ran every single game with it. But the kit's different now. It's a little bit more of a scaling pick. A lot of times, that's why you see it in top lane, because you need to get 2 to 3 items before you can really run through people in team fights. But
right now, he's trying to run through
Raptors.
The Raptors,
Yep.
yeah. Oddielan's here, but Tomo and Isles walking up as well. And I actually think, yeah, Oddielan got the smite onto the big Raptor there. So, nice defense from LYON.
Yeah, that was just Sheiden trying to make an aggressive play around his pushing lanes. It's a good sign that he had the tempo to go for that play, but it's a good defense by LYON to get the smite, and now very minorly Sheiden is behind. It just means those Krugs are going to be sitting alive for a bit longer than he wants them to.
It does mean that Tomo's going to have a slightly later reset here. Hena's able to get back to that wave a little faster. Maybe shove that in, so Tomo could miss out on a minion or two, but getting the coal, so I think Tomo's here for the long haul. He's looking to get that Bloodthirster quickly on the Misfortune. Very, very solid item power spike. One item Misfortune, very, very good.
Yeah, and she can have so much turret taking pressure, as we've kind of covered now that we've seen her a lot more often in the meta. She also has just the ability to get to team fights quickly, right?
Ooh,
as we see.
Saint damage onto Keine, but Kane's actually walking forward rather than behind, so the only way out is back in. Doesn't have the damage, though, and that is first blood to Lyonz.
I think that's what Keine was thinking, like, maybe I actually get a kill here, but I think the only way out was out.
Oh, yeah?
I think then he might have actually lived, but instead he went forward for the kill, and then once the hook landed and he got ignited, he decided the flash was going to be pointless. But he got Saint low enough, I think, after he pushes Saint back. If he just flashes backwards, there's a chance he lives here.
Yeah, we'll see, because Saint is already starting this with way less health
Gets this
as
done.
well.
So now Annie's out of damage. Like, Annie's used all of her spells. So if Keine just walks back, sure, the Nautilus can do a bit, but then he's not taking minion damage. He's not getting the extra autos from the Annie. I think he might actually be able to escape.
Well, either way, that's kill to Lyonz, so Nautilus picking that one up here. But I love it when supports do that. You know, you let Hena go for the earlier reset, get to that bottom wave, should be pushing into you, so you have a window to make a play happen. And if you pull it off, hey, better on you.
Yeah. For Keine, though, the benefit is he still had his flash, though.
And there it is. He does use it, so gets away from the Tibbers engage.
And this is with the null magic. So he's going to be going early Merc Treads because the value is going to be so insane for the CC reduction on this team. As that gank happened mid, they've now thrown 2 full ganks towards him. That gives his team the Drake. So because the kill went to Nautilus, that whole sequence, I'd say, is still probably positive for Keine.
I mean, he's got a target on his back, but he's wearing it well. Keine is even able to catch another wave here. He's not forced to go for a full reset. And the later this game goes, the scarier the Ryze is going to be, as Sheiden's actually pushing Oddielan away. He has level 6. Oddielan does not. Flash over the wall. Oddielan's out of there.
Yeah, he's going to have to burn the flash. We see Braum resetting. Tomo should be resetting after this.
No flash on Nautilus.
Bite lands. That's a stun up onto Lyonz. Won't need the flash, as he should be just fine.
And I think looking forward in this game, since it's a fairly close early game, I look at the LYON team composition. They have Renekton, Lillia, Annie. I think if you're putting those 3 champs together, if it wasn't late and fearless, you would almost never do this, because all of them are these CC champions, and even Renekton hates people with Merc Treads because it'll reduce his stun duration and they can just walk away. So those 3 do not pair well together. This means that Hena needs to be the scaling for this team. He needs to have a good game, I think, in order for them to win. Since everyone's going to be building Merc Treads anyway, it's going to enable the Zeri to have more potential to do damage.
True. No plated seal caps. That means less damage reduction on those autos.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot on Hena, and again, a lot on their setups for Hena, right? And keeping him protected. As the grubs have spawned, we're going to see...
Yeah, does Tomo go for the reset?
Lanes. Yeah, we should see the lane swap.
Great timer right there. Tomo picks up the completed BF sword and heading towards that top side here. The strut on Misfortune just means you get around the map so fast.
Yeah, zooming.
You zooming around. You don't even have boots. Look at how fast that's moving.
It feels really good when you play it.
404 boot speed.
But yeah, now this should also, again, just because she is so powerful, LYON gonna sneak in and take these grubs before Dig gets set up. So really smart take from them, recognizing when they could get in there.
As we mentioned, though, teams seem more willing to give away these 3 grubs, which are stronger than the previous version's 3 grubs, since these 3 grubs can't become 6 grubs. That's the reason that we.
And you know, Dig got grubs last time, and they lost the game.
Exactly. I was going to point out the team with the early Drake stacking, which was LYON in that case.
Oh, flash over the wall from Sheiden, all in onto Saint. He flashes, but the undertow snipe. Sheiden gets the kill.
Wow, that's some confidence right there, just flashing straight in. You can also see, though, that was Saint's full blast attempt onto Keine, and it took him to 40% health. So Annie is not doing great at this stage in the game against this Ryze with just the Merc Treads for tankiness.
And let's get another look at that replay here, because if it's a 1v1, you can take this and walk away, but Sheiden making it not a 1v1.
Yeah, burning all of his spells means that Sheiden is very confident just flashing forward, and just a great throw there on the axe. I feel like if he doesn't land that Q, it ends up being probably a positive play for Saint, getting the flash out, but because he hit it, that's the difference.
And we were kind of waiting to see what the Olaf would be able to do. Chased away Oddielan in the river and secured a scuttle. Also got Oddielan's flash there, but that time picking up a kill now. So Olaf a little bit off to the races here, getting a gold lead over his jungle opponent.
Yeah, he's actually the richest person in the game right now, so he's going to continue to play this way. He really wants to get to that 3 items straight. The builds that I've seen for Olaf is Stridebreaker, Sundered Sky, Sterix.
Okay.
If he gets to those 3, he becomes an absolute menace in teamfights, especially if he's slightly ahead of the curve of the game.
Noted. And also, I gotta say, anytime, I mean, we talk about when Saint's ahead, LYON look better. When Sheiden's ahead, Dignitas look better as well. He's a very solid performer on this team. He might not say much, but he lets his gameplay do the talking. And so far, it's been sounding pretty good. Yeah.
Stridebreaker complete as well, so able to run some people down as long as his team stays alive.
That was a lot of abilities used.
Yeah.
And Keine still has over half his health.
Yep.
Interesting. Ooh, Tomo has to pop the cleanse. Is Hena going for an all-in? 1v1 as the AD carry. Does not want to flash follow. Tomo has to use 2 sums to get away.
What was the cleanse for?
He does.
Unsure.
It's a nice move there by Hena, but I do wonder if Tomo just
slow from the zap,
button.
potentially.
I'm going to go back and check.
Yeah. Take a look. But either way, Tomo will not have those abilities as Dragon's coming up in 10 seconds. This is a great window for LYON to actually go for something, but Tibber's not available for Santos. He's in the pit, no flash, gets a stun onto 3, but Isles with Tomo just push all of LYON off of the objective, but they want more. In go Dignitas, but a lullaby on the 3 members. Oddielan just turns the play on its head. Licorice joins in, and he's able to pick one up as well. The top laners trying to get some action done here. And a flash forward from Srtty. He's pulling back. Licorice locks down. Do they have the damage all out used? He's still fine. Coldamik to get the heal, and Hena goes on the wall. Tomo's down. LYON's traded. Hena, can you get away? Keine looks to chase down. Does not have flash available anymore, so Hena is out of there. What a chaotic fight.
Absolute bloodbath. Dignitas was feeling so confident after their initial play that they end up just taking the Ryze ult and kind of running it down, because the start of this is perfect. They kill Saint, and they get a bunch of people in bullet time to force them out. At this point, they think, fine, we can win, but the Lillia Q into 3-man sleep turns it around.
Yep, and then the big person I want to watch on the backside of this fight is Hena, right? Because even though Audie goes down there, and that actually does give feats over to Dig, Hena was able to get some damage in off the back, and then, try to get Licorice in there.
Yeah, going to be fairly important in this game as well, who actually gets the feats of strength, just because I would say the Annie burst, if he has to go into the Merc Tread shields of the upgraded Mercury Treads, is going to be pretty important. So Feat of Warfare goes over to Lion. They need one more to be able to take those boots away from Dig.
Making a note to go back and clip that team fight later. That was the Braum ult into the MF ult, into the Ryze ult, into the Nautilus, into the Lillia. Just like, who can combo their abilities better? Both of them looked good, but end of the day, like you said, the Feat of Warfare picked up, and now another dragon here for Dignitas.
Yeah, the big thing here is Dig are still able to go in and get this Drake. We talked about how important early Drake stacking was in the last game, right? And it will end up being an Ocean Soul, so I'd say not as potent as a Hextech, but not bad.
Let me trade you, though, points here. That's an Olaf, so
yeah,
true.
Like, he'll benefit a little bit from it.
Yeah, I think so, and especially with how front-end heavy Lion's damage is, if you're just building a little bit of burst reduction, then the Ocean Drakes or the Soul would make it so you're back at full health and kind of go wherever you want. So when you really talk about it, all souls are powerful in their own way.
Yep, a soul's a soul.
So a soul's a soul, it's good.
And Dignitas stacking those up, also getting a little bit ahead there in the feat of Monster Slain, as we've confirmed. 3 grubs were picked up by Lion, but that's 2 dragons to Dignitas. This Herald now has got a big target on its back, and it's spawning in under a minute. 40 seconds time now, but currently, Lion have a little bit more priority in the top lane, kind of matched in the mid lane. Let's see if Dignitas actually want to invest a lot of work here. They do have Sheiden in the neighborhood, and yeah, they're dropping their wards down, so it seems like Dignitas are prepping for a player on the Herald.
Yeah, Sheiden wants to fight at this point in the game, I believe, because he feels much stronger than everybody else. And also, as they're moving with Ryze, like, they can really bully Saint around. That's why they're trying to attack him as much as possible. Saint not at a powerful point in the game currently.
Looking at Lyonz there. Very forward brush. I'm not sure if he was spotted or not, but Keine is not going to give him a window to actually engage, instead backs away.
Yeah, this is a tricky point in the game. Sheiden can kind of do what he wants.
Yeah, Oddielan does have the ultimate available again here, but he's going to have to be approaching into Isles. Hard to actually get past to the Braum, especially with the Misfortune behind them. You want to use your engage onto the MF to stop that ultimate, but now Lyonz could just be caught out of position, has no flash available. The Braum passive stuns him up, and there's Ragnarok. He's just dead. Lyonz caught out of sorts as Dignitas will now look to turn their attention onto this Herald. Does Oddielan want to look for the Smite steal? Getting the move speed stacked up here, throwing out those Swirled Seeds, walking up, doesn't find it. That is Herald secured.
Sheiden's 5-pick Olaf seems to be the thing that might clinch them the series and keep their season alive. He's going wherever he wants, gets the Herald, keeps them ahead in the games, and it's just looking really difficult for Lion to make any real plays.
Yeah, he has a massive lead over Audie now, and I think the big thing is it was always, just because of where itemization is, going to be really difficult for Lion to end up contesting that, right? Because they also didn't have any sort of TP. Licorice's TP was just still down, so he wouldn't have been able to join this fight either, and as we see,
Also why Braum is so good into Nautilus. Nautilus goes in, Nautilus can't go out because he just gets tagged by the Braum. Aftershock also got burned early, so by the time the Braum stun completed, there was no way Lyonz was staying alive.
And that was 3 ultimates committed, but still with numbers there, seemed like Lion did not want to go in and contest that Herald. So I believe that does mean feats of strength confirmed for Dignitas, as that is their 3rd neutral objective picked up. Plus, they got the first 3 kills, so upgraded boots. And we already saw how important Merc Treads were going to be in this game. Well, how about some upgraded ones?
Yeah, it's actually, it hasn't even turned on yet. Dig hasn't upgraded any of their boots. They're just sitting on the magical footwear from the rune page with 3 of their members. It's just Keine who needs the Merc Treads because that's the only one Annie's ever staring down. So literally 1 pair of Merc Treads at the moment is stopping Lion from making any plays. Now they're deciding, you know what, let's just go for the Cassante.
And again, it's going to get worse before it gets better, because Keine will just continue to scale as this game goes on. The Ryze will just become unkillable. They don't have the damage to get through him. Maybe they can just find a snap engage onto Tomo, but that's, like, realistically their only target.
Well, now you see this little roaming squad from Dig going to pop the Herald mid. Again, they should be able to get this turret down and then also have first prio over that Drake, right? And it's just, they have such a good setup on the map right now.
They really feel like they're in a good position, but I just need to couch it a little bit. If Audie has a really good fight, there's a lot of low range. So even if they have a lot of magic resist, the Lillia damage can really add up over time. So Oddielan has to kind of be the one to carry them through, in my opinion.
Yeah, Keine does have a bit of point-and-click CC ability, but other than that, it can also be difficult for Dignitas to try and lock down Oddielan in these fights. So happy you highlight that. Oddielan could be the hero, as now it's a pick on the Isles. First it was Lyonz by the Herald, now it is Isles who's in trouble. Flashes to safety, burns down to the Lillia. Tomo under, turret cleanses nothing. Hena picks up the kill.
Or if you just get walked down 1v4, that's another thing. Doesn't matter if Merc Tread's value is high or if they have a bunch of CC that's going to stack together poorly, if it's 4v1. So they get a bunch of kills there, and Hena, the late game insurance, got the kills, which is huge.
Yes.
Yeah, he's now 2-0-3, and again, this, more importantly, stops that Drake stacking, right, from Dignitas, so they're not going to be on as early of a point as LYON were when they were kind of forcing Dig into their teamfight composition last game.
Ooh, Licorice. In a 1v1 against Sheiden, has to flash. That's just how scary Sheiden is. Yeah, they find the picks in the mid lane, but you gotta respect the Olaf.
He doesn't want that smoke. He's still the richest player in the game, by the way, Sheiden's Olaf, and he's just continuing to farm. You can kind of... It's interesting. Sheiden feels like he can just carry this game if he gets items, but part of that delayed their setup for that Drake, which cost them that Drake at the end of it. So you can see how powerful he is by Licorice just flying away from him with Flash when he didn't even burn the Olaf ultimate, but... that's kind of why Sheiden's doing it. He's just trying to farm up.
He got the second item. Steric's cage completed, so stopping for that second here. He's a big shield based on your max HP if you get taken low enough. And yes, he is stacking HP. Oddielan's very happy about that with the Leandri's build, but you're going to be drain tanking as Sheiden, so unless they get some grievous wounds, it's actually going to be hard to stop Sheiden from still running down the entire team.
I mean... Sheiden just taking all the gold. Luckily, you do get to buff share now. It's not like he's taking the blue away from the Ryze, but...
Junglers loved that change. I know it's been around for a while, but oh man, what a good day.
He's almost 10 CS per minute in the jungle this game.
Wow. That is quite impressive.
He's farming.
Like, especially against a Lillia, who pretty known for like a clear speed ability to just blitz through those jungle camps. Oh, we're just starting at Oddielan.
All right. I mean, LYON aren't in a setup.
We see Oddielan mid. Oddielan's literally on vision mid. Srtty sees him. No vision from LYON around the Oddielan, and that is a secured objective to Dignitas.
Yeah, completely uncontested, and the only thing that they might lose for it is this top tier 1, right? So that's definitely something that Dignitas will take, especially with Oddielan now, again, as a reminder, being a permanent buff.
Licorice, as he does get this turret, at least it's an answer for LYON. I want to take this moment to just get a breath in because, oh, no, we don't get it. Hena going all in onto Tomo yet again. That's another flash from the Misfortune. Hena can't quite hit the damage, but the dredge line from LYON secures the kill.
Tomo just getting pushed off mid-wave again and again. That's what's keeping LYON in this game. Even though Sheiden can one-shot objectives with Olaf, if they can't get mid-prio, it is hard to play.
And it's really great recognition from Hena and Lyonz on when they can go on to Tomo, when he does step too far forward. Again, because MF holding that mid lane prio is so important to a lot of things Dignitas want to do around the map. Another time where Tomo just gets completely bullied.
That's 2 now that Tomo's really struggled. When usually I think of Misfortune and her ability to control that mid wave being a big strength, but Hena making it very tough for Tomo.
Yeah, Hena and Audie can carry this. So it feels right now that Sheiden can walk wherever he wants, but in terms of him actually being able to stick to these targets and kill them, the Zeri can get so powerful late game and kite out so well that if Audie, Hena play well, they also have a way of winning this game since the kills have gone in their favor as well, so they're a little bit accelerated.
And I'm curious if Hena will go for it early. Something like a shield bow can make it so difficult for Sheiden to get on top of you and kill you then. So, I mean, we see the Noon Quiver. We'll see if that actually completes into an early kind of defensive item here, because you're already doing a lot of damage right now.
They are looking for a play onto Hena.
Oh, yeah, Hena actually has to jump over the wall. Keine locking him down, and Hena's all alone. Uses the Lightning Crash, trying to take the 1v1 versus Keine. Has Lyonz behind him, and Hena finds some forward. That's a teleport in from Srtty into 2 members of Lion. Sane trying to lock him down with Oddielan. Flashes forward all out onto Licorice. The escape tool is found as Oddielan goes in. Lilting Lullaby on the multiple members with a bullet time! Takes out Oddielan. Dignitas hold their ground, and they win the fight.
What a back and forth fight right there. Keine got the summoners out of Hena early so it couldn't be a sustained Zeri fight, and then everyone just piles on. Srtty makes the best of a bad situation at the back end of this TP, but it starts with Keine onto Hena.
Yeah, you see Lion going forward, really trying to be able to protect Hena in here. I thought that Srtty might be out of this fight completely because of how he TPs in, but Oddielan Saint can't really get on him. He flashes, is able to get Licorice completely out of the fight, and then even though that sleep lands, this still sets up that MF ult.
Yep. Sheiden can hold his ground. I mean, the Lilting Lullaby does nothing against the Olaf, so Sheiden says, that's fine. I'm just going to run down the Lillia.
He ran in, basically 1v4. They couldn't even pop hysterics. He just mauled them. Skipping the Sundered Sky as well. Looks like he's going to be going probably for a Spirit Visage for a little bit more MR, which again is going to make Hena a threat for sure, but they're just trying to make sure that this Lillia Annie can't do anything.
But that started with Hena in a rough position. If Lion can get a better front to back, like this current setup, it could be a different story.
Yeah, Annie is still mid too, so she'll probably be, if
As
they
the
do want to fight this, backing, and then, oh, no, she's just going to TP right into the back half of it, but Dragon's already down.
Yeah, I mean, that Dragon's secured, so Lion kind of lost their window to try and fight.
They did. It's not Seoul yet, and Hena did get individual gold from the turret, so I think it's something that Lion's okay with. If they tried to brute force their way into Braum, they probably would have ran it down, so they might even get 2 turrets out of this, as the map is split, MF mid.
Dignitas not able to get in there to stop it. So yeah, okay, making best of a rough situation. Lion will get 2 turrets for their trouble. Tomo's trying to get this mid turret in response and actually does do it.
These misfortunes. That's what she's good at.
You know, I expect it from Ziggs. Expect it from
That's
Tristana.
how you should. So haven't you heard my argument about MF actually? You should play MF like Ziggs.
Right.
Not exactly, but in terms of your ability to take turrets, I think sometimes teams don't leverage it. That time, Dignitas did leverage it.
True.
When they were losing tier 2.
Shout out Tomo.
On the bot side.
He learned from the first 2x9 in mid lane. He said, okay, nobody's here this time. I can actually push in and hit that turret. As again, moment to catch our breath here. The loser of this series is going to have an early end to their split 2. Nobody wants that on that stage, I can promise you. Yeah, and the pressure's got to be mounting.
Yeah.
It's been a very good series so far. Big contest over this Scuttle Crab here, but neither team actually has a good way of engaging. So even though you'd think there'd be a lot of engage online, because there's 3 pairs, or at least, 3 pairs of Merc Treads, upgraded Mercury Treads for 2 of them already completed, and the player that doesn't have them is the Olaf, who can just press R. So none of the CC for Lion necessarily works, but on the other side, Dig is a run-at-you comp, and Lion has a lot of speed to run away. So they end up eye-contacting a lot of these river fights, and the only true engagements we'll have is when they start the objective.
Yeah, that's when you'll see potential setup for the Annie come out, potential Nautilus. I am curious to see how each of these teams do end up setting up their fights, right? Because we have seen a lot of really, really good, you know, Dominus, Renekton flanks from other teams, but then this Olaf is such a pain to deal with.
We keep having to go back to highlight that the Olaf is unstoppable in these fights, and Keine is also getting to a point here where you have the Seraphs, you have the completed Roa, and you're going to build that Zonias. So that's going to be 2 people that you'll just never kill through the Lilting Lullaby, because Kaine's got the outplay button as well now. Really tough for Lion to actually find their approach here, but when do they want to pounce, and how do they want to find it happen? The Baron is up on the Rift right now, and Dignitas are just taking away buffs, keeping Oddielan out of his own jungle.
But that should get, because this wave had already kind of been set up, Keine is going to be able to knock down this top tier 1, and they'll be able to get down a lot of vision around this Baron area to kind of set them up for success. I mean, look at how deep their vision is all the way down here on this top side.
Yeah, you could see that Dig playing with a lot of confidence. I was almost expecting them to just start the Baron because they had good control ward coverage and they would maybe want to draw Licorice's TP in, but you can tell you definitely don't want to throw the game on a Baron, throw your season on this Baron, so you need to make sure you have the right play. Dig, I think, is probably just going to wait until that Soul fight.
Yeah, and now we see the classic kind of vision battle, right? LYON did get in. They were able to clear out some of those wards. We see Isles going back in, placing that ward down before recalling. Dignitas currently have mid-wave set up, but Hena is going to be able to catch that. And again, it's just going to be scrapping over setups, in particular vision setups, and then, to your point, potentially leveraging the Drake as well, because, to reiterate, Dignitas are on Soul.
Yep, minute until that dragon. So I just want to take some time to appreciate how Dignitas find themselves in this position to begin with, because split one, they were kind of still in the bottom 4, but they won a series, right? They were able to have a deeper run in that lower bracket, if we want to call it that. But this time around, we full expectation. LYON were the more improved team, and now they're finding a pick on the Isles, but the bullet time over the top, they can't kill Braum fast enough. LYON's in trouble, flashes away. Srtty trying to front line here, as he will flash as well. Nobody goes down.
So we got to see what ultimates are down. No heal or Braum ultimate on Braum, no MF ultimate, and then we're missing Nautilus ultimate and Annie ultimate, but a lot of flashes still up as this Drake is up in 20.
Sheiden still has Ragnarok available. Sheiden could still be the hero for Dignitas right now. Currently, LYON control the access point, though.
But you got to be so careful about Hena here. He burned his Zeri ultimate, so he's much less damage, but he's still 3.5 item Zeri.
No lightning crash. That's where a lot of the damage, even recent buffs, went into that lightning crash damage. So that is actually quite big that the prime carry, the guy that's got to get it done, will not have that ultimate available. Let's see if LYON can fight regardless. Dignitas are going to start up the dragon. The Soul for Dignitas, if they can get this.
It's got to be a flip. He's got to flash for it.
Oddielan's going to try and look for the seal. Instead, he goes in for the ult and the lullaby into multiple members, but he just can't get it down. He went into the stasis too early, as now he's taken out of the fight. Tomo gets the kill to kick things off here, as LYON are going to have to find something. Flash stun from Saint, but shut down from Hena. Double kill to Tomo. LYON are still winning the fight. Licorice goes in despite the quadra kill to Tomo. Licorice is getting it done, as Isles will fall. Everyone's died left and right. Licorice go to the dragon. I think he's going to get it reset. No. Are you kidding me? Nobody gets the objective at the end of the fight.
I thought Isles was crazy for sticking around there because it was an 800 health Drake. Licorice could have finished it. But let's watch this fight. Split call by Dig at the start. I think Sheiden wanted to finish the Drake, but Audie just makes it too juicy for the fight. Flashes in, gets a super sleep, and then Dig says, well, we have to fight or we're going to get aced.
Yeah, and here we go. Srtty actually ends up getting burned, which is then when Sheiden turns, right? And here's where Tomo starts actually cleaning up so many of these kills, but then you have the stun coming out from Annie and Licorice being able to clean up that off the backside, and then Hero Isles stopping this Drake from being taken.
Because it's still up. It's still Soul Point. I think we're going to see another fight.
We could see it yet again here. And yeah, that little lullaby did land, but it really only affected Isles because Tomo had the cleanse and then the stun onto Srtty. But now we're back to live here. Dragon's already under half health. Dignitas just get it. LYON cannot stop it.
Licorice must be kicking himself about that chase. He wanted the free kill onto the Braum. Doesn't get the kill. Doesn't get the Drake. He could have done 1,000 damage, and now that Ocean Soul is going to be hard to fight back from.
What a close fight. What a close game. What a close series. Dignitas currently with the lead from the objectives, but the gold's about dead even regardless, and we still have more fights to come.
We do, but Hena has Infinity Edge, so if they can just get an all-in fight, maybe Hena can keep their season alive.
LYON need to make it happen right here, right now. No flash on Hena. But the Lightning Crash is available this time around. Bullet time used, but not to great effect. Glacial Fissure down as well. That's two big ultimates from Dignitas, but they're still on the Baron. They get it. LYON now, maybe they find the engagement. Oh, Keine with the ult to get Dignitas out of there.
That was a really, really slick Baron from Dig, right? Like recognizing that LYON have to come into them. They need to burn that down, and then the little Realm Warp to escape. Dig are in a great position now.
They really are. I didn't expect Dig to be able to win this series, but they might qualify their way into playoffs if they can make this Baron buff work. There's still a lot of standing gold here. 2 outer turrets in the top and the bot lane, and I think because the engage isn't great for LYON, Dig is going to try a little bit of a 4-1, but LYON would then want to just try and get a fast fight before a siege can be set up.
Yeah, we see Keine setting up on this top side of the map, and the rest of Dignitas joining him, well, except for Srtty, who's going to be pushing in this mid wave. And MF should be able to take these pretty quickly, especially with Baron up minions.
Yeah, Cleanse will be back on Tomo really soon. Flash probably about 30 seconds away as well. Very aggressive play by Tomo. He got so much gold from that quadra kill. He was so far behind. And now he's 64 gold up on Hena.
With the QSS, another outplay button onto Oddielan. Oddielan's job's only getting harder as another engage onto Isles. There's a lightning crash. Tomo was just taken out of the fight. Very low on the misfortune. Barely gets out of there.
Hena's still pretty strong.
Yeah.
If this was not your reminder, my goodness. That was 2 hits.
Yeah, that should
2 hits.
stymie the push a bit. Audie is going to be able to potentially clear out this mid wave. Although, there we go. There's the Ocean Soul.
He's back.
And the Bloodthirster in action. Tomo is now back to full health.
Yeah, did not have to reset. Still able to continue the siege with the rest of Dignitas, but again, no lightning crash for Hena means that LYON, they can't really fight.
It really feels like without Zeri ultimate, Dig is a bit unstoppable. They can go wherever they want. They're just going to go collect this mid wave and probably try and open up the second inhibitor.
Can they get the first, though? They actually...
Yeah.
Yeah, with this cannon minion hitting it. 1 more, 2 more autos. It was 2.
Yeah.
There we go.
Moving over to the mid lane. Still no lightning crash, so LYON just has to concede it.
Yeah.
It's going to be up soon, though. They'll have it for a Nexus defense, so Dignitas, they cannot use the Baron to end the game, but they're going to use the Realm Warp to just rotate towards the bottom lane.
This is a really, really nice use of that Ryze ult, right? To continue to chew through these turrets. Really, really limiting the options for LYON now.
Licorice! He just walked up to try and stop Bags and just gets destroyed.
I mean, he stopped 3 of the backs. So
sure, mission accomplished.
Mission is sort of accomplished. Yeah. There's no big objectives coming up. It'll just be a little bit of extra gold given away for the most part. You can see Dig trying to redeploy on the map very quickly, but I think it's most likely going to come down to this Elder in 2 minutes unless Dig can find some type of big game-ending fight before then.
Keine again in the side lane right now. Almost the death cap completed. If it comes down to an Elder fight or a Baron fight, he might just have that item.
Yeah.
And he's been involved in so much that Dignitas have done, right?
Yep.
Like, participated in 11 of the 12 kills they has been using that global ultimate really, really well.
Absorbing all the early game pressure, too. All right, Dignitas, they're at the precipice. All the work that went into this year, all the effort, the blood, the sweat, the tears. It could come down to one final fight. Lightning crash from Hena, but he's knocked up to start things off. Braum shield keeping everybody safe. Hena's ultimate will go on cooldown. Licorice trying to dive forward, and there goes Oddielan looking for the big sleep. Lands on the 2. Keine pulled back in with the hook, but he goes into stasis. Sheiden diving the backline, and Sheiden is making magic happen. Licorice gets 1, does go down. Dignitas have claimed 4. It's only Oddielan left alive. Making pelts out of Lyonz. Dignitas get it done. 1 more push, and they're bound for playoffs. Oddielan cannot stop. Can only watch as the Nexus falls. Dignitas win the series.
What a game by Dignitas. Played with their food at the end. It didn't seem like they'd be able to do it, but they are playoff bound.
Playoff bound, Dig. Not the expected result of that series, but they will take it. They're happy on stage and well earned.